An exiled Iranian crown prince, Reza Pahlavi, is now calling for democracy, praising President Trump for the death of the Ayatollah. The prince has lived in exile in the United States for nearly 50 years. Now he's calling for a free Iran forged by the Iranian people. Let's bring in Chief of Staff to the exiled prince, Khansarinia, for more. Cameron, thanks for coming on. So the Crown Prince and President Trump are calling on the Iranian people to use Khamenei's death as an opportunity to take back their country. But many regime officials are still in power. So is it realistic to expect the Iranian people to overthrow the regime right now?
Diane, thank you for having me. It's very good to be back with the program. Both the president and the crown prince were very clear in their messages to the Iranian people that the time will come to come back to the streets. But for now, it's time for people to stay home, to stay safe while ongoing military operations take their course. There are clearly more targets to come in the coming days and possibly weeks. And at the right time, the Crown Prince will call the people back into the streets. I think the world saw on January 8th and 9th of last year how the people of Iran reacted to his call when they came to the streets in their millions and were close to toppling this regime. Unfortunately, it cracked down brutally, and nearly 40,000 innocent Iranians lost their lives in the fight for freedom, in the fight for liberation. The difference this time will be that there's support from the United States under the leadership of President Trump and from the Israelis under the leadership of Prime Minister Netanyahu. And so with the severe decimation of the regime's political leadership, but more importantly than that, the repression apparatus of the regime, when the prince calls the people back to the streets, they'll have a far more even playing field to finally topple the Islamic Republic once and for all.
Have you been in touch with the Trump administration or Israeli officials about what new leadership in Iran will look like?
It's been reported in the press, and the prince maintains ongoing and frequent dialogue with a variety of diplomatic partners out of respect for the administration and for all of the governments. I won't go into further details, but I think you've seen in the past several weeks reports about a dialogue, his participation at the Munich Security Conference, meeting with a variety of leaders of foreign countries, from the foreign minister level to the head of state level, et cetera. So when the people of Iran have shown so much bravery in fighting for their liberation, it is his role to be their voice on the international stage, and he continues to do that on a daily basis.
So what are the Crown Prince's plans when it comes to potentially returning to Iran?
Well, when it comes to the vision of what Iran will look like, the Crown Prince has been incredibly clear that Iran should return to normalcy. Iran, for the past 47 years, has not been a normal country. It has been a country taken hostage by a theocratic dictatorship, by a murderous regime, the first victim of which was the Iranian people, hundreds of thousands of whom have lost their lives in one way or another to this brutal dictatorship. It has taken the Middle East hostage. It has sown chaos and terror with Iran's Arab neighbors. It sought to wipe Israel off the map. It has blown up American soldiers in roadside bombs. It has taken Americans hostage. It's taken citizens from so many countries hostage. So first and foremost, Iran will once again be a normal country. It will re-enter the community of nations and be a source, instead of terror and instability, but peace, prosperity, and stability in the Middle East. Work with its neighbors to ensure that the Middle East can be stable, relieve the pressure from the United States.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, just I have limited time with you. So does the Crown Prince plan to return?
Of course, he'll return to Iran. He's making active plans to be in Iran as soon as possible. He said today in an interview that whether that's after the collapse of the regime or even before its final collapse, to lead the fight of the Iranian people to reclaim their country.
Nicolas Maduro's vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, is currently leading Venezuela, despite the international community recognizing Machado as the rightfully elected leader. Why do you think this situation will be different?
Well, Iran is fundamentally different from Venezuela, and the difference here will be the people of Iran themselves. The people of Iran will not accept any remnants of this regime to lead in the place of Ali Khamenei. It is not the case that Ali Khamenei was the only bad guy in this regime. He built a regime of people who supported his ideology, his murderous, his terrorist ideology. In fact, that's what the Islamic Republic's constitution is based on. The regime's constitution commands it and all of its officials to export the revolution. So anyone who will attempt to replace the supreme leader or any modifications that are made of this regime won't be acceptable to the Iranian people. Just as they protest against Ali Khamenei, they'll protest against anyone who attempts to take his place or simply reform this irreformable regime. So the difference in the end is the people of Iran, the role that they play, and their sovereign right to choose their own future leaders.
All right, Cameron Khansarinia, we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.